Welcome into Jets Game Day presented by Audi. I'm Caroline Hendershot, Eric Allen, Bart Scott joining me alongside in studio. Gentlemen, the Dallas Cowboys coming to MetLife Stadium. They're 1-2-1 coming off a thrilling Week 4 tie with the Green Bay Packers. Bart, are you as anti-tie as I am? Because I hate ties, and I know as a player you probably don't love ties. Did you ever experience one?
I've never experienced a tie. I can remember the first time they had a tie. I believe it was Jonathan McNabb, and he didn't know about it. And when the rule first came out, it was like, oh, the game's over? Like, yeah, it's a tie. But it's funny, oddly enough, that tie always comes back to either help you or haunt you. Later in the season, usually they bear huge weight in division games and post-game, so it'll be in some part of the calculation.
Oh, 100%. All right, let's go out of the tunnel and set the table for this game against the Cowboys. EA, as we see September in the rearview mirror, what have you liked in this first month out of Aaron Glenn?
Well, listen, I like the resolve this team is showing. They've been taking some punches early in games, and we've been seeing them rally in the fourth quarter. But for the Jets, they're going to have to put 60 minutes together. And offensively, I'm seeing some steps where this team can continue to ascend here down the line. But right now, for the Jets, it has to be, complementary football. The offense has to pick up the defense has to pick up the offense, and you need contributions from special teams. And once you put that all together, then you'll be in the win column.
Bart, despite the Jets' record, if you are a leader in the locker room, what are you saying to rally the team together and turn this kind of mojo around?
Well, we all have to pull the rope in the same direction. Nobody can get off the boat. Either you're in or you're out. We need commitment. And this is really when you see who your leaders are and how people perform with not what they do on game day, what they do on the practice field. Because that's where the preparation, where the improvement is going to come. And now you hope that can translate from the practice field to the game field. And once you get one, then it's contagious. You can get two. And it's about learning how to play, and to Aaron Glenn's point, not beating yourself.
Right. You don't want to make those small mistakes that then add up. Okay, let's get to our top storylines presented by HCL Tech. EA, you're going to go first. What is your top storyline this week?
Well, I'm really encouraged by the Jets' offense against the Miami Dolphins, nearly 200 yards rushing. We saw Justin Fields, what he can do with his feet. He completed more than 70% of his passes. The Jets got Breece Hall more involved. And Garrett Wilson, no matter who he's playing each week, continually produces. Also, the continued emergence of rookie Mason Taylor. He's been flashing in the passing game. So those are all encouraging signs. But in terms of this matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, nobody in the National Football League is playing better at the quarterback position than Dak Prescott. This is a huge challenge for the Jets defense.
That's correct. Dak Prescott does lead the league in total yards in offense. Bart, what about you?
I think it goes right there when you talk about the offense, and it goes to the biggest storyline is his defense. And how do you try and contain this team? You know, they're without CeeDee Lamb, but George Pickens showed you who he can be when he's focused and locked in. And last week he was locked in, to the tune of, over 100 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns, and big plays. And we know he has the big play ability. We saw him last year in Pittsburgh. It was a moon ball coming last year from Russell Wilson, but it'd be a moon ball coming from Dak Prescott, as I think that relationship is going to grow as CeeDee Lamb mends his injuries. So the biggest line and stat line is really Sauce matched up against George Pickens, somebody he's very familiar with. Sauce had tremendous success against another bigger receiver in DK Metcalf. Let's hope that was training on the drive.
Yeah, and obviously they want to make sure that the Cowboys are missing CeeDee Lamb in this game and really are feeling the impact of that. All right, everybody stick around, because coming up next, we have a one-on-one interview with head coach Aaron Glenn. You don't want to miss it. Top Storylines is presented by the official digital transformation partner of the New York Jets, HCL Tech, supercharging progress. Jets Game Day is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today, or visit AudiOffers.com for more information.
So late Monday night in Miami, into the early hours of Tuesday morning, how do you take it all in? You just finish up a game against the Dolphins. You got a short week ahead to prepare for the Dallas Cowboys, and then also you have a quarter of your season completed, basically, with 4 games.
Yeah, well, the first thing is you really want to make sure you go and look at that Miami game and try to look at the mistakes, look at the good things that you did, and try to emphasize those things to the players, but quickly be able to transition into, listen, short week, got to get ready to play Dallas, got to get our minds focused on playing Dallas and how we want to beat Dallas. But, man, you can't get away from those little detailed points that you want to be able to fix when it comes to the things that we did wrong in the Miami game. And then, again, be able to highlight the things that we did well so we can try to build on those things. But we have a really good opponent coming into our house that we got to do a good job getting ready to game plan against, because they have a number of good players on that team that we got to watch out for.
What did you think about Justin's return to action? And now you have 3 games with him under center.
Well, I thought he did a really good job. And he was really spinning the ball. I think he completed over 74% of his passes. He went for like 230 yards. And then his run ability really showed up. So when I look at these 3 games he actually played in, I mean, obviously the 2 games against Pittsburgh and in Miami, man, that's exactly how we see our offense operating. We had close to 200 yards rushing. Justin passed for 225, 220, almost 230, and his completion percentage was above board. So that's exactly how we see us playing offensively. The Buffalo game, listen, we got punched in the mouth that game. We know that. And the thing is, we have to make sure that we're able to come back from that. I thought we did a really good job in Tampa. Obviously, Justin didn't play. Man, but coming to this Miami game, I think he looked exactly like we want him to look.
How much do you like his composure, also his confidence? Yeah. And with that being said, he's so steady, but he brings an element of explosion to the game that I think lights up your sideline.
I think he speaks with his play more than the way that he speaks coming out of his mouth, because he is a very explosive player. But he is mild-mannered. I mean, he's not the type that's going to try to get in front of a room and give you a rah-rah speech and things like that. But when he gets out on the field, man, his action speaks. And I think he did a really good job. I thought he did a really good job of using his legs in that game. They gave him opportunities to be able to move around and make some plays, and he took every advantage of it. What
impresses you most about Garrett Wilson? Everybody knows you're going to be throwing him the football, but he produces each and every week.
Man, his body control is crazy. For him to be able to twist, turn, contort his body, be able to understand exactly where his feet have to be to make some of those catches, and his hands are unbelievable. Man, he is a true #1 receiver, and I learned that more and more as I spend time with him, and I'm glad that we have him on our team.
This game this week, how much does it help you, your familiarity with Matt Eberflus on the other side of the ball?
You know, it helps. It helps, but, you know, I would say this. I think there's some things he's doing a little different, you know, because of the nature of how they play. I'm sure the head coach wants him to do some things different. Things we got to watch this film, and this is going to be a tough contest for us. I mean, Dak's playing outstanding. So defensively, we have to be on top of it. And obviously, you know, listen, they have some guys on that defense that has made a lot of plays in this league. Diggs, for example, the corner. You know, we have to watch him Bland, the other corner. Those guys, you know, are pretty tricky as far as reading the quarterback and going to get the football. So we have to be on our P's and Q's when it comes to that. So this is going to be a hard-fought battle, but we're going to do everything we can to go out there and win this game.
What is the key? You mentioned Dak before. You can make the argument that nobody's playing better than him at the quarterback position right now in the league.
Yeah.
When you look at their offense, what's going to be the keys for you defensively?
Well, we today is the day that we really go into that. But I could just speak on who he is because we played him so many times. He's a very composed quarterback. He is very tough. He is an anticipatory thrower, you know, which is big for a quarterback. You saw it in the last game on some of these throws that he had. So we have to make sure that, man, coverage-wise, we have to be in the right place at the right time because he's going to get it out of his hand, and he trusts that he can make the throw. And there's not one throw in a quarterback playbook that he can't throw. So he's, to me, he's a special player, and he deserves everything he's getting.
What's the message for the fan base right now after 4 games? Because you have such an interesting perspective. You played here. You know what they've seen. They're starving for a winner. And at the same time, you're building this thing, and there's a process day to day that you are going through in this building.
Listen, I'm glad you asked me that question because I've said this, you know, on many of occasions that I understand how the fans feel. I really do. And I'm not just talking about this year. I'm talking about years before I was here. Man, they're starving for a winner. Man, this thing has to be built the right way. Man, I wish I can tell you that, we could just throw players out there and we just start to win right now. Man, I want to build this thing from the bottom up and make sure the foundation is set. So again, guys, don't let go of the rope. Don't let go of the rope. We'll be just fine, just hanging there with us. But I understand, I do, because no one wants to win more than I do or these players in this building or anybody else in this building. But don't let go of the rope and we'll be just fine.
And you have the confidence and conviction that you see where this is going.
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. There are a lot of small victories in what we're doing that sometimes people overlook. So, for example, if I told you that we rushed for 200 yards, if I told you that Justin was 74% completion, if I told you that Justin passed for almost 230 yards, right there would tell you we won that game, but we didn't. We didn't, and we have to make sure that we go out there and win those games. And there's a things that we're talking about now, about the how we're going to do things, not just the why, but how. And once the players understand the how, we'll be just fine.
AG, appreciate your time.
No doubt, appreciate you.
This exclusive interview is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today, or visit AudiOffers.com for more information. When we return on Jets Game Day, Bart will break down Dak Prescott and the surging Cowboys offense. Don't go anywhere. As we get closer to kickoff, let's get inside the numbers brought to you by the New York Lottery. Our first number is 5, as in Garrett Wilson's jersey number. G5 has taken his game up a notch with a career-high 77.8 receiving yards per game so far this season, and he ranks 7th among all wide receivers on Pro Football Focus. That's above notable pass catchers such as Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. The next number is 68, which was the amount of yards Wilson had on his touchdown catch against Dallas in 2023, back when Wilson was rocking the number 17 jersey, the longest reception he has had so far in his young career. And finally, we have the number 13, as in the amount of touchdowns Justin Fields has thrown to Wilson in total, combining their time in Ohio State and in the NFL. As this duo continues to click, expect this number to rise. Jets fans, your lucky numbers for the week will be 5, 7, 68, 17, and 13. Now time for a film breakdown presented by Moody's with Professor Scott himself. George Pickens was emerging as a big option for them in their pass game. How do the Jets eliminate that aerial attack that Dak Prescott is at the helm of?
Well, you have to be disciplined in your coverage and understand that everybody's live. And, because Pickens moved up and was elevated to the number 1 receiver, Turbin has been the number 2 receiver, and he's a speedster that's very crafty. When you look right here, he's at the bottom of the screen. What I want you to see is the timing and rhythm in which this offense plays with. Before the snap starts, you're going to have a 6-man pressure, and it's going to be a bind put on Javonte Williams, and he's going to cipher it out. But then the rhythm and timing of Dak Prescott throwing the ball on time. Right here, ball's out, pressure in his face. Before the receiver's even out his cut, the ball is up in the air. He comes off. You have a level of separation right here because the receiver Turbin stemmed and they read cover 2 over the top, but they weren't able to use the safety because the rhythm and the timing of this is almost indefensible. With Dak playing like that, you just got to tip your cap and say, hey, good play, and understand that, you're going to give up some plays. You don't want to give up the big one over your head.
Right, but you want to limit those kinds of plays as much as you can. All right, on the Jets offense, who and what do you want to see more of?
Well, I want to see a lot more Mason Taylor, but I also want to see a lot more Breece Hall. You talk about how do you slow this Dallas offense down by keeping them on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And if you look right here, this is a regular play, heavied up the formation, Tiger personnel, 12 personnel. Somebody wants to go and be technical depending on what your background is. You have your tight end off the ball, your tight end off the ball. This usually gives them angles because it allows you to be able to scoop underneath because the defender has to stay a yard back to set up your blocks. As the play goes, we have shifts and motions, which draws the eyes of the linebackers. And then as this play goes, what I love is coming back and you're changing the math. So when this happens right here, you now have 1, 2, 3, 4 versus their 4. And then you also have a hat for a hat. And then Breece, a great back, is going to have to make somebody miss. He sets up the blocks. He's patient. We always talk about patience to the hole, acceleration through the hole, and that's exactly what we get right here. Right here, we get the perfect seal block here. We get the crack block here. This is the free defender that's left for Breece. Breece comes in, sets up this block, and bounces it out, and he's one-on-one for an explosive play. And if the Jets continue to do this, Breece will break some of these, and he had an opportunity with the defender slipping to maybe even get some more yardage, but that is an explosive play from the run game, and that's what you want to have. You got to have explosives from the run game, keep the clock moving, get the offensive line going forward, and allow them to get some momentum. All linemen love just to fire off the ball. They don't like to go in pass coverage and have to catch. This allows them to be aggressive, especially early in the game. Breece hits the hole, bounce outside, and it's beautifully drawn up a hat for a hat.
And that vision from Breece Hall was really incredible there to see the hole and find it quickly. All right, thanks, Bart. Coming up next on Jets Game Day, you don't want to go anywhere because the gentlemen will be making their case and we'll be closing out the show with our final thoughts. This film breakdown is brought to you by Moody's, proud partner of the New York Jets. Get 100% verified tickets to every upcoming game at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Jets and the NFL.
I go right to Dallas. Obviously, a team that has a quarterback that's playing at the top of his game. So defensively, we got to be on point when it comes to that. And I look at their defense somewhat similar to ours. Man, new coordinators trying to get his system in and try to get guys to operate in that system the way he wanted to. So, I know he's had some challenges, but man, he has some talent over there, and we have to make sure that offensively that we understand exactly who they got, because they are disruptive and they are fast and they can make some plays. And they have guys that can make some plays. They have some ball hawks over there that we got to pay attention to, and we got to be good with that. But just like any week, man, we are out here ready. They're coming here, and we're looking forward to go win the game.
Like I said after the game Sunday, we've lost 3 games by 1 score. So I think, that's a positive to look at. And I think if we clean up, turnovers, penalties, that's definitely going to put us in a better position to secure those wins instead of, saying we're close and this and that. But just, focusing on us, not necessarily our opponents, but fixing everything that we can to put ourselves in the best position to win.
That was your locker room roundup presented by Dunkin'. The Jets run on Dunkin'. All right, gentlemen, it is time to make your case. Bart, you're going first. Dak Prescott is completing over 72% of his passes in the early part of this season. Who is the defensive X factor that needs to stop this passing attack?
I mean, it has to be Will McDonald, in my opinion. He has to get him off his spot and make him have to throw the ball on the run and get him off his spot and make him uncomfortable back there. So it definitely has to be Will McDonald.
EA, Dallas is giving up over 120 yards on the ground every game. Who is going to lead the Jets' rushing attack?
I'm taking Breece Hall. I like what I saw out of him last week against the Dolphins. We saw him get 100-plus yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you're right. The best defense against this Cowboys offense is the Jets offense. I want to see a lot of Breece Hall on Sunday.
Bart, who is the Cowboys' defensive weak link that the Jets should try to target?
I mean, if Diggs is playing, that's definitely somebody you want to target. Bland came back last week, but you definitely want to go after Diggs, especially when you look at he gave up over almost 200 yards receiving against the Giants.
All right, well, let's hear our final thoughts as we round out this show. Bart, I give you the floor.
The final thoughts is the only way that you get out of this is together. And you have to come together as a team. You have to believe that you can win. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. And you just have to keep doing the right things, and eventually the results will come.
Takeaways, turnover differential. It's got to change for the Jets. They're -7 right now. It's 32nd in the National Football League. They've been doing a lot of good things, but you're losing close games because you've been minus in the turnover differential. Continue to build on what you did offensively last week against Miami. This is a very suspect Dallas Cowboys defense. Control the ball, and you're going to give yourself a great chance to win. The Cowboys are 0-2 on the road this year.
And you're right, the Jets are still looking for that first turnover of the 2025 season. So maybe it will come against the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching Jets Game Day presented by Audi. We'll be back next week when the Jets actually are traveling across the pond to London.